All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going deep into the world of Craigslist.
Oh, Craigslist.
It's that online classified site where you can find, well, just about anything. Furniture, apartments, maybe even a few things you didn't bargain for.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so fascinating, right? It
Yeah.
runs on trust. You're dealing with total strangers, often with big ticket items, sometimes even in personal spaces. There's a certain level of risk that comes with that.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're going to explore some real life Craigslist horror stories. We're pulling these from a popular YouTube channel, Mr. Nightmare.
Oh, I know that channel.
So we've got three very different situations we're going to unpack. A young woman looking for her first apartment, a teenager on the hunt for a deal on hockey equipment, and a woman selling a dining room set.
Okay, I'm interested.
So let's start with Amanda's story. She's looking for her first apartment on Craigslist, which can be a pretty daunting task,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Especially in a competitive rental market, finding a place that's both affordable and safe, that's a huge concern.
Right. Especially for young people who are, moving out on their own for the first time. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of finding a place and maybe overlook some warning signs.
You can get tunnel vision.
Exactly. And that's kind of what happened with Amanda. She found a listing that seemed almost too good to be true.
Oh, I know those. What was it?
A room in a house for only $225 a month. Female only, and she'd have her own bathroom.
Wow. It does sound like a dream.
Right. But here's where things start to get a little strange. The listing only had one photo, an exterior shot, and the supposed roommate requested that Amanda come for a viewing at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. That's a little unusual for an apartment viewing.
Right. And the lack of photos, that's another red flag.
It is. A legitimate landlord or even a roommate, they'd typically be more flexible with showing times, and provide more photos to, showcase the property.
Right, to entice you.
Exactly. So this late night request and the lack of photos, it kind of feels like they're trying to hide something.
Yeah, or create a sense of urgency, like you got to make a decision now before someone else snaps it up.
Right. Pressure you into it.
So Amanda arrives at the house for the viewing, and instead of meeting the young female roommate, she's greeted by an older man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He claims to be the landlord, says the roommate is working late and couldn't make it.
See, that's another big red flag. Things not matching up. A real landlord would usually give you a heads up if someone else was showing the property.
Yeah, especially if they said it'd be the roommate.
Exactly. And combined with the late night meeting, it starts to feel like an attempt to, control the situation. Isolate Amanda.
Yeah, it's getting creepy, and it just gets creepier from there. The landlord kept most of the lights off as he hurried Amanda through the house, no furniture anywhere, and the supposed roommate's room. Locked.
Oh, come on. That's just like textbook unsettling. The lack of furniture, the locked room, the dim lighting.
It creates a weird vibe, right?
Totally. And it creates this power imbalance.
Yeah.
It's like he's intentionally trying to make Amanda feel disoriented and vulnerable.
Yeah, and then comes the basement incident. They're in this narrow hallway, and the landlord insists on showing Amanda the recently finished basement.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the door swings outwards when he opens it, completely blocking Amanda's path to the back door. And then he says, all casual like, ladies first.
Oh, that's chilling. Basements, man, they're already kind of creepy.
All right.
Dark, isolated. It's a classic horror movie trope for a reason.
Right. And with the blocked exit and that lady's first comment, it's like he's trying to trap her.
Yeah, like he's setting a stage. It's awful.
So Amanda's basically trapped in this dark hallway with this guy. But luckily, she gets a text at that exact moment. Thinking fast, she pretends it's a phone call and says, all loud and excited, yeah, I'll come out the back and let you in. It's great. You have to see it. And then she just walks right past the landlord and out the back door.
Oh, wow. Good for her. Quick thinking.
Right. She books it to her car and gets out of there.
That's amazing. She used that text to her advantage, created a distraction, and got away. Her confidence probably threw him off guard.
Yeah, totally. So Amanda's obviously shaken up, but she's smart. She reports the incident to the police, and you're not going to believe what they found out.
What happened?
Turns out the house had been foreclosed on months ago. This landlord, he was actually squatting there illegally,
Oh, my God.
and they found some disturbing stuff inside the locked room where he'd been living. Dirty blankets, rotting food, and pornographic images all over the walls.
That's so creepy. It's like something out of a nightmare.
But the worst part, in the basement, they found a piece of fishing line strung across the stairs at shin level, a broom handle wrapped in leather belts, and a box full of different kinds of tape.
Oh, God. That's terrifying. It sounds like he was planning something really bad.
It does, doesn't it? Amanda was incredibly lucky to escape that situation.
Absolutely. It's a stark reminder about being cautious when dealing with strangers online, especially when you're meeting in person.
So what are some key takeaways from Amanda's experience that we can all apply when using online classifieds?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those feelings. Second, be wary of deals that seem too good to be true. Like, come on, a room that nice for that price. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, scammers love using those too good to be true offers to lure people in.
Exactly. And never give out personal information like your home address until you've vetted the person you're dealing with. Meet in public first, if possible.
Great advice. Now let's move on to our second story, which involves a 14-year-old boy looking for a good deal on hockey equipment.
Yeah, I mean, hockey equipment can be expensive,
Oh, for sure.
especially for a, growing teenager.
Yeah,
It's easy to see why a 14-year-old would jump at a deal that seems too good to pass up.
exactly. And this young man, let's call him Ben, was searching for used hockey gear on Craigslist, and he found an ad that seemed like a dream come true. Goalie pads, a blocker glove, and a stick, all in good condition for just $50.
Wow, that's a steal.
Right, I know. He messaged the seller, and right away the seller asked him how old he was.
That's a little strange right off the bat.
It is, looking back, it's definitely a red flag.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with an adult stranger online.
Right, you never know what their intentions are.
Exactly, they could be trying to, target younger people.
So Ben told the seller he was 14, and the seller replied, "I'm glad to hear that you're dedicated at a young age."
Ooh, that's kind of creepy.
Right. It's chilling when you think about it in this context.
Yeah, it sounds like something a predator might say.
Yeah, trying to, gain his trust.
Yeah, exactly. Build rapport.
So Ben, eager to get this hockey equipment, asks the seller for his address,
Okay.
but the seller refused.
What?
Yeah, said he preferred to meet somewhere near Ben's house.
See, that's another red flag right there.
Yeah, a legitimate seller would usually be willing to at least provide a general location for pickup.
Yeah, for sure. Or meet in a public place.
Right, like a coffee shop or something.
Exactly. This insistence on meeting near Ben's house, it suggests they want to control the situation.
Yeah, maybe isolate him from potential help.
Right.
So they agreed to meet in a mall parking lot just down the block from Ben's house.
Okay.
Ben waited, and eventually a white van pulls into the parking lot.
A white van.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not good.
And it parks far away from the other cars.
Okay, that just screams suspicious.
Right. Then the seller texts Ben saying he's in the van.
Oh no, Ben, get out of there.
I know, right? So Ben asks the seller to come out of the van with the equipment, but the seller says it would be easier to do the transaction inside the van.
Oh, no, Ben, you should never get into a stranger's vehicle.
And thankfully, Ben had the common sense to realize this was a bad idea.
Yes, Ben.
He immediately turns and runs.
Good.
But as he glances back, he sees the white van following him.
Oh, God.
And now there's a second person in the passenger seat.
Oh, no, that's even worse.
I know it suggests that these individuals may have had, more sinister intentions.
Yeah, they were probably planning something.
Ben knew he couldn't lead them to his house, so he ducks into someone's backyard, jumps the fence, hides behind a bush,
Smart kid.
and he sees the white van slowly drive by, turning the corner at the end of the street.
Oh, my God.
He waits a few minutes before cautiously making his way home and immediately tells his parents everything.
Leave for him.
His parents were terrified, but unfortunately they couldn't report much to the police since Ben hadn't gotten the van's license plate number or a good look at the people inside.
Ugh. That's frustrating.
But the story doesn't end there that night. Ben hears a vehicle engine idling outside his house.
Ooh.
He peeks out his bedroom window and sees the white van parked across the street.
No way.
As soon as he looks out the window, the van's headlights switch on and it drives away.
They were watching him.
It's so creepy, right?
It's terrifying.
Ben never saw the van again, and the Craigslist ad was taken down shortly afterward.
Well, he says that.
But the experience definitely left him shaken and, understandably, paranoid.
Oh, for sure.
He learned a valuable lesson that day about the potential dangers of online interactions.
Absolutely. It's so important to trust your gut.
And to be aware of your surroundings.
For sure.
Now for our final story tonight, we'll hear about a woman who encountered a very unsettling individual while trying to sell her dining room set on Craigslist.
Yeah, selling things online can be great.
Oh, yeah,
Declutter, make a little extra cash.
for sure.
But it does come with some risks, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're inviting strangers into your home.
Yeah, you never really know who's going to show up at your door.
Exactly.
Our final story for this deep dive is about a woman, let's call her Sarah.
Okay.
She was trying to sell her dining room set on Craigslist,
All right.
and she got a call from a potential buyer.
Right.
And right away, something about his voice felt off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was shaky, almost unsettling.
Huh. It's interesting how our voices can reveal so much, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Like our brains are wired to pick up on those subtle cues
Yeah,
that might signal, danger or untrustworthiness.
right, like something's not right.
Exactly. It seems like Sarah's intuition was trying to tell her something.
Yeah, and about an hour later, the doorbell rings, and Sarah comes face to face with this potential buyer.
Oh.
And he's wearing a stained undershirt, torn, baggy pants. His hair and mustache were unkempt.
Not exactly the image of a trustworthy buyer.
Not really, right?
I mean, appearances can be deceiving, but in this context, it's definitely a red flag.
Yeah.
It could be a way of, appearing non-threatening, or even to try and lower Sarah's guard.
Yeah, throw her off.
Exactly.
So the man starts inspecting the dining room set, slowly circling each piece, running his hands over the surfaces and making these strange grunting noises.
Oh, that's weird.
It was super odd.
Yeah, that overly thorough inspection and the strange noise, it's all about control, isn't it?
Yeah, like he's trying to intimidate her.
Right.
So to try and break the awkward silence, Sarah reminds him that her asking price for the set is $1,200.
Oh, okay.
The man stops his inspection, looks up at her, and gives her this creepy smile before saying, "How about $500?
Oh, what a lowball offer.
I know, right?
It's almost insulting.
Sarah laughed nervously, thinking he must be joking. But the man's smile vanished, instantly replaced by this angry expression.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was clear he was serious.
That rapid mood swing, that's not a good sign.
Not at all.
It could indicate a potential for, aggression or violence.
Right, so Sarah tells him that $500 is way too low, and the absolute lowest she would go is $1,000. And that's when things take a really disturbing turn.
What happened?
The man puts his hands on his head, starts making those strange grunting noises again, and begins pacing back and forth.
Oh.
Then he stops pacing, looks directly at Sarah, and she could see pure hatred in his eyes.
That's terrifying.
She knew she had to get him out of her house.
Yeah, that's a fight or flight response kicking in.
Right, so she politely thanks him for coming, hoping he'll take the hint and leave.
Okay.
But he just stands there, staring at her.
Oh, no.
He was much bigger than her, and she was terrified.
I can't even imagine.
Then he slowly moves his hand towards his back pocket.
Oh, God, no.
Thinking he was reaching for a gun, Sarah runs upstairs to her bedroom, grabs her loaded .45, and takes cover behind a wall.
Good for her.
She peeks into the dining room, and the man is gone.
Oh, my God.
She quickly locks herself in her bedroom and calls the police.
Thank goodness.
It felt like forever, but finally she hears police sirens approaching.
Oh, thank goodness.
She stayed hidden in her bedroom, terrified that the man might still be in the house.
Right.
Thankfully, the police quickly entered the house and began searching.
Okay.
They found the man hiding in the pantry closet.
Oh, my God.
And he had a loaded gun.
She was right to be terrified.
I know, it's so scary.
It shows how important it is to trust your instincts
Absolutely.
and to take action to protect yourself.
So the police arrested the man, and as they were leading him away, he stared at Sarah through the window of the police car.
Oh, no.
She said it was the same look of pure hatred she had seen earlier.
That's chilling.
And she's convinced he'll come back for her when he gets out of jail.
Oh, God, that's awful.
It's a terrifying thought.
It is. It really shows the lasting impact these kinds of encounters can have,
Yeah, for sure.
even after the immediate danger is gone.
Well, this deep dive into the dark side of Craigslist has certainly been unsettling.
Yeah, it has.
But I think it's important to remember that these stories are, thankfully, rare.
They are.
They represent a very small percentage of the millions of transactions that happen on Craigslist every year.
Right, most Craigslist interactions are perfectly safe.
Exactly.
But these stories serve as a reminder that we should never let our guard down completely.
Right, whether we're buying or selling or just browsing online.
Exactly.
So what are some key takeaways from these stories that our listeners can apply to their own online interactions?
Well, I think the most important thing is to trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Right.
Don't ignore those feelings and be cautious about sharing personal information online. Always meet in a safe public place if you can.
Great advice.
And remember, it's always better to err on the side of caution.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the creepy side of Craigslist.
Stay safe out there, everyone.
Thanks for listening.